Welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast on another fabulous Friday morning here. Super excited on KGCI Radio, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the spots you can find us. And it's a lot to get out first thing in the morning, right? And but super excited again this morning to be in studio. And we're in the new studio, everybody. So round of applause for everybody because we're in the new studio. It's a great spot and super excited to be in a new home. And I have my first guest. Now, I'm going to ask you how you pronounce your last name in a second.
There's a lot of letters.
There's a lot of letters in that last name. But Jaymie from Elevate Inspection Group, and I'm excited to have you. So I'm going to have you pronounce your own last name, and then we're going to introduce yourself.
Paternoster.
Paternoster. Okay. I was probably close.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like more Pat, not, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know where to go with it. So Paternoster, Jaymie Paternoster from Elevate Inspection Group joining me this morning in the new studio.
This is beautiful.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Well done. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for joining me and coming out here early on a Friday morning. So tell me about yourself. Like I know we're gonna get into this background and all the things about Elevate and how you started, but
sure.
and then you just told me you went and got your master's degree, right? And why not?
I mean,
right?
I've household. You know what I mean? Like real estate is you get paid when you work. And that's how home inspection is.
Got it.
So for each of my kiddos, so Isaiah is now 11, Josephine is 8, and Eve is 4.
Wow.
And every time you step away, you know, kind of lose touch with a little bit of the outside world, which is also a right to be able to actually like intentionally raise your kids.
Yeah.
But no, I don't think I was home any longer than 2 weeks for any of the kiddos.
Right.
But that also leads to burnout.
Yeah. It's funny because too, like, think about it from a standpoint of like my wife and I talk about COVID all the time, right? Like, and that was 5 years ago now, if you can think about that.
Oh,
It's almost like we skipped that whole year though. Like that was just
oh,
like,
truth.
but like we actually enjoyed that time.
Yeah.
We were locked at home with our 2 boys,
Oh, yeah.
and it stunk for them, because school and all the things that they weren't able to do. Um, but at the same point, like we were playing board games at home, and we
Oh.
were shooting baskets in the driveway, and hanging out. And at the time, my youngest was in 3rd grade. Yeah, he was in 3rd grade, and so like for school, they had to do like gym at home, right? So I had to like video him do like we were doing push-ups in the driveway and shooting baskets. So and
So
then
good.
and then uploading videos. Like so it was like I was pulling all this world together that I do this craziness anyway. And I'm putting out lights out and doing all this
That's
stuff that we
amazing.
were doing. But that family time is important, and we lose it when we get caught up in this rat race
Yes.
and we don't spend enough time there. So it's almost like COVID wasn't too bad.
It wasn't
from
too
a
bad.
stance of getting locked at home with the family for a while.
It was incredible. We're a camping family, so as soon as
you guys are out of here.
as soon as you were allowed to be outside with other people, yeah, we drove away.
Yeah.
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 And that actually became there was like an uptick in camping because people realized how great their families were. And they're like, oh, we need to do this more often.
Right.
So like they couldn't make campers quick enough. Everybody
Yeah.
was out buying a camper.
Yeah.
But yeah, COVID really allowed people to understand what was really important, kind of take you out of the rat race. But in real estate, when that pent up demand came back and all of us, had to be out there to take care of that. I think, and for me personally, that's where burnout started. And I didn't realize it for a couple of years. I didn't know that I was allowed to use that word for myself. I didn't know I was allowed to use the word anxiety for myself until probably a year ago. And I was like, whoa, this is what this is. And I had to just like claw myself out of the pit and create some really good boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've talked about this a lot too. There's not a work-life balance.
No.
There's a blend.
Oh, that's a good word. I
Yeah.
use rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't use balance either. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. But and it wasn't my thinking. I can't remember. I was listening to something else, and it was like they talked about a blend, right? Because of what we do as an entrepreneur and running our own business and all those kind of things, is I can take my son to baseball practice, and like while he's practicing, I can take a couple phone calls.
Sure.
So I've blended those two things together.
Yeah.
That I'm still present, right? And he can see me, but he knows that sometimes Dad's got to take a phone call. Same thing for you. Mom's got to take a phone call sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
it's not always easy. But it's like that they're growing up this way. So they're almost like understanding it.
Well, and one of the cool things about doing it that way is they get to see what entrepreneur looks like. Because
Right.
when I was in the thick of just a complete whirlwind, not putting 100% of myself towards any of the things, I was probably a pretty crappy wife, and I was probably not the best mom, and my team suffered because of my like just fogginess from not really being present in just all of it at the same time, right? There's something that I realized if I want my kids to even consider entrepreneurship, I gotta really get this together so they don't see me as a miserable, unhappy person that's like failing at, her job. So I had to create some really high boundaries so that they saw the joy in it, the free,
Yeah.
because one of the reasons that we decide to do this like risk-taking entrepreneurial thing is for time freedom and financial freedom. Why? To have options. I
Yeah.
want to spend really good time with my friends and family. And if I don't do that, well, then what the heck is entrepreneurship? It takes me away from my friends and family.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I've been able to really reframe that and change everything in my life and in our team so that it looks, if they can go be a dentist or a doctor, whatever it is that they want to do, but
Sure.
I don't want them to shy away from entrepreneurship because it looked ugly. I want them to see the awesome in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the knowledge of that there is some hard to it.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Which is also good because
Yeah.
it teaches them good work ethic and
Yeah.
really hard integrity
Yeah.
doing what you said you were going to do, even if you change your mind,
Yeah.
but to do it anyway
Yeah.
with grit and gumption, but to stay true to your authentic self. It's very messy, but they get to see it raw.
Yeah. And, I had a coach tell me one time too, that, if he's like, Jimmy, if you had a camera follow you around all day, right? And they just followed everything you did. And then at the end of the day, when you went home, they showed it to your family. Would your family be proud of what you did today?
Oh, that's good.
And I was like,
That's good.
like,
That's
maybe
good.
being on the golf course today and having a few beers wasn't a good idea.
Oh
You know
gosh.
what I mean?
That's
But you start to think because it is up to you,
Oh yeah.
and we do have we can provide freedom in this, right? Because we can control our schedule, right? And I tell agents this all the time, and I say, look, when the inspector calls you and says, I got to do the inspection tomorrow at 10 a.m., they're trying to fit you in their schedule. It doesn't mean it fits in my schedule, right? So maybe we have to come up with a different time.
Yeah.
Because agents typically will always just bend for everybody, right? Inspectors got to be there at 10. And the inspector's got to be there at 10. I'm like, did you ask them if they had to be there at 10? Or is
Right.
that like, did they have another day and time available? Right? They're just giving you what their time is.
Yeah.
That's it. They're
Yeah.
fitting you into your schedule. Does it fit in yours?
Yeah, like let's have a conversation.
Right. Exactly. Don't come to me later and go, oh, well, they can only make it at this time. I'm like, did you ask them if they had more time?
Right.
Because as agents, and we do the same thing for, appraisals and we got to meet somebody here. And agents, we're taught, or we're not even taught this. It's almost like it's a learned behavior somehow
Sure.
that we're the fast food order takers.
Oh,
We're
sure.
supposed to just drop everything and go take a client out to look at a house. I'm like, well, does that fit in your schedule though?
Good.
Right? Does that fit in your schedule? Because when you're scheduling inspections, you can't just schedule all of them at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Right.
Because you can't do them all at 10 o'clock.
That's right. Well, and then if I do Jimmy's at 10, then I'm not going to be able to make Sally's at noon. Like we
Right.
have to have time slots for a reason.
Yeah. And some buffer time, because mine's in
Yep.
Roseville, and there's another one in Clinton Township, and then there's another one
That's
in
right.
Sterling Heights.
That's right. And
So, I
that
mean-
morning inspection might add the radon and sewer scope, but we have to allot time to be able to say, yes, I can do that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a schedule for a reason. So
Yeah.
just talk about it.
Right.
We're just people
That's
trying
the
to
thing.
get to the same goal. Yeah.
That's the thing. We're all trying to fit our schedules.
Yep.
And so again, it goes back to that relationship,
Yeah.
conversation,
Who'd have
right?
thought?
Communication.
101.
Exactly. Just having the conversation. And I say the same thing about mortgage, right? Like, so same thing. If I have a client and I'm going to send it to my loan officer, well, my loan officer's got to fit it in his schedule. He can't just pull everybody in and see everybody at one time. Like,
Yeah.
we're all in this same thing, and we're all trying to do the same thing where we're blending this life, with some family time and some vacation maybe.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, you've heard of that, right? I know. And the craziest is, do you find it like we do in the real estate side, where when you schedule a vacation, that's when you get really busy?
Oh, it's
All of a sudden you got 6 jobs.
Yeah, don't put it on the books. Just keep it like in the back of your mind.
Yeah, as soon
Yeah.
as you write it on the calendar,
Yeah. I know.
six things
Everyone
come
else
up. You're like,
knows. Yeah.
yeah. I'm
I
like,
know.
if you ever want to be really busy as a realtor, schedule yourself a vacation.
Yep,
See what
yep.
happens.
That's awesome. You're right.
Yeah. See what happens when you schedule a vacation. Yeah. But so what's the next phase of this, right? Like, so how many people do you have on your team now?
There are 3 home inspectors.
Okay.
And then we have Leah, who I say Leah runs the show. So she started off answering the phone and scheduling, but she just does all the things. She lets us know exactly where we need every day. She communicates with all of our real estate agents and our clients. Leah runs the show. She's been with us about 4.5 years. And then I'm in and out of the field. I like to inspect because I like to interact with our clients, but then I see myself getting back in that whirlwind really quick when I do that, because I'm also we call it growth, but I'm also our marketing person. And I also have to, my husband is out of the business, but he still helps me run the business because he understands from, a 60,000 foot view how businesses should function successfully.
Yeah.
But our budget and our payroll and our insurance and those phone calls. Oh, those phone calls.
And your equipment.
So and our equipment and inventory and ordering and all that stuff. So I do all the behind the scenes stuff and connecting people, building relationships. So that's where I'm leaning into in this next season. And I've had a lot of fun with it. I started a podcast a couple of weeks ago. man, I've interviewed some great people. It's so much fun to really get to know all of our home service people on such a human level, real estate agents and mortgage friends and roofing companies. Like it's been incredible to really be able to sit down across from someone and talk about more than just interest rates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But to know
Yeah.
people on just such a human level and be like, okay, why are you doing this in the first place?
Right.
Like, when's the last time someone asked you, who are you? Like, are
Yeah.
you really clear on your goals and your dreams and your visions? And are you okay with like changing that when a new season of life comes along? So that's where I'm taking this whole marketing thing for Elevate Inspection Group is that dream that I've always had to really get to know the people that we work and play with
Yeah.
on a human level and letting everyone else know, like, listen, we're just people trying to do a really good job. Let's get to know some of them.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going with this next.
I love it. I love it. And again, we're in this area, right, where home sales are doing their thing,
Yeah.
right? We're hoping they're saying maybe by Q4 that rates will be down.
Yeah,
Which will be great because then it's going to make us all a little bit busier.
sure.
And again, is it to grow the team? You got 3 inspectors now.
Oh man, I hustled so hard for years. And we were up to 9 people, I think, at one time, in like 2022, 23. And that was where I saw myself. That's a whole nother podcast, Jimmy. But that's where I saw myself really sinking down into someone that I just was not anymore. Like I became catty and awful, and I'm joyful and high spirited.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like
say,
I'm a pretty light
yeah,
person. I'm not a burden. But I know exactly what I want. And I'm going to make it very clear.
yeah,
But in that season, it was awful and ugly. But man, I hustled hard and I was everywhere. And you knew who our team was, and you knew who I was, and you knew that we did home inspection and there was no joy in any of it for me anymore. I just bounced around and made surface relationships hoping to get work. And I was like, I felt gross at the end of the day. But business was good and there were 9
yeah,
inspectors but that didn't, and I realized like that didn't matter to me. I'm not in this for the money. Like I got to pay my bills and the kids have tuition and whatever, but like I'm not in this to be a millionaire. I just really want to provide a great service with exceptional value that I'm really proud of. Like you said, if someone follows me around with a camera and shows my grandma, am I going to be proud of it?
right.
So I had to really recalibrate this last like 2 years. I just pruned my entire team. We just started. There's a couple team members, of course, that have been with us for years. Kept them.
Yeah.
One of them retired. Did you know the average home inspector is really only in the industry for like 7 years nationwide? 7 years.
So
It's a lot.
it's a lot.
Yeah. So
And
one of
then,
my guys retired.
yeah, is that because the average age of the home is like I don't know young home inspectors.
Oh wow. Yeah, all of ours are younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
half
mean, I know
our
a few.
and
Right?
half our team have little children at home. So yeah, we're very family. We're a younger team.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest one. I'm 46. So that says. But I think that it was a good time to just recalibrate what our team looked like
Yeah.
and go back to being who we say that we are to really have this culture where it genuinely is God first, then family. And oh yeah, we do this business thing so that we can feed them.
Right.
And we have to do it really, really well or it won't exist.
Right.
So I had to really recalibrate. So there's three home inspectors
Okay.
and Leah runs the show from.
Yeah. And sometimes in business, that's what they call it, like shrinking to grow.
That's beautiful.
Right. Like sometimes you do have to shrink that business down a little bit because
Yeah.
I've been a part of some like mega teams, right?
Yeah.
And 120 agents on one team, and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, and you're onboarding and offboarding, and that's all
Yeah.
we're doing. And
Yeah.
it's like, how long have you worked here? I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm supposed to be running this team, and I don't even know who these people are. Like this is terrible. This is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
But you're right. So sometimes you have to shrink to grow.
That's really good.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, again, it's difficult, right? It's not easy to do that. I'm just checking our chat here too because we got some chats coming in.
Well, how big do I want to grow? I
Yeah.
used to say, oh man, we're going to be all in the Midwest. I just wanted to keep growing, hire managers in different territories. We were going to start over in Grand Rapids. We've considered starting up in Traverse City. We've got some friends down in Ohio. We considered like partnering. We we really wanted to be all, I say we, because my husband is a visionary also. So he was like, we could be everywhere.
That's dangerous with 2 of you in the house.
Well, it is, but it's so great because we've planned so many businesses on napkins, like on date night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that, I saw myself going, I don't have a desire to do that.
Right.
Like I because of the way I love to lead my team and the way I love to um just be hands-on part of the team. I don't want to lead. I don't know. I I would rather fail forward and raise my family than fail forward and have, 42 home inspection company managers in the Midwest. Like that's not a desire of
Yeah.
mine. I want everybody to be able to just come together regularly and do a really awesome, consistent job. I don't know. So if the good Lord wants me to grow this thing to a 500 person inspection company, like many are across the US, I'm part of
Yeah.
this coaching group that's phenomenal. And there's some huge home inspection companies in the US and are not franchises. Like they're just huge. And it's beautiful. And I have no
That's funny. Tom Tillier said a couple of my favorites. And then he said, come to Tampa, Florida.
Ooh, I like it.
So you get down with Tom Tillier down in Florida
I like it.
and start a new home inspection company down in
There we
Tampa.
go. You and me, Tom. Let's do this.
Yeah, so it's interesting, all these things, and knowing what you are like. Again, it's that's got to be some satisfaction too, knowing you're good, how you are.
Yeah, and if we're
You know
going
what
to
I mean?
grow, awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. We've constantly have home inspectors reaching out to us to say, "Hey, I'm doing this, but I don't want to run my own home inspection company. Can I just come be part of yours?" I'm like, "Yeah, the time isn't right now. We don't hire anybody new until we're at like 80% capacity. I don't want to not be able to feed the guys that I
Sure.
have right now, but we've always got a bench of really great home inspectors that just want to run their own company.
yeah,
And I get it. There's a lot behind the scenes.
there's a lot,
And it's
yeah.
expensive. You know how much a sewer scope is?
Right.
So I love that, and we'll grow as much as we need to, but I will not compromise my my health anymore
Yeah,
in order to grow it just to say that we're growing it.
yeah.
I won't do it.
I love it, and it's hard because we do you do see opportunity. You see like, oh, I could do this in Indiana. I could do this in Ohio. Like I
Yeah.
could be the Midwest.
Yeah.
Like, Elevate could be in the whole Midwest, and
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah, but my brother-in-law, so I started in New Orleans and my brother-in-law is still a home inspector down there. He's been one for over 10 years now. And just like that, I could probably start up in New Orleans and it would be amazing because
Yeah.
we still have that group, that group that would just start using our. Same thing with Indiana. Had a home inspection company there for years. A wonderful group of real estate agents over there. So if we started again, it would be amazing. But I'm okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm good. I'm good. I like dropping my kids off at school and I like picking them up at the end of their school day. And
Yeah.
I like having the weekends to, be flexible. Not,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you can do 10 inspections over the weekend for sure.
Yeah,
Or
I did.
You don't have to do 10
Or you don't have
inspections over
to.
the
We
weekend.
rotate. Our
Yeah.
guys got it covered. We're good.
Yeah.
Let's just make sure we're still having fun and let's make sure we're still feeding our families and let's make sure we're still offering like this exceptional experience that we promise.
Yeah.
That's all we have to do.
Easy.
Simple, not easy. Simple.
Yeah, that's the good correction, right?
Yeah,
That's the
right.
good correction. So, and it's been such a good conversation. Like
Hmm.
we've got a lot of time left, but
Great.
but I think the thing that people need to hear is, like on a daily basis, like and one of the other things you brought up that I wanted to bring up too is you said you're in a coaching group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you run a very successful business.
Yes.
Why are you in a coaching group? Doesn't make sense, right?
Oh, because of community. You can't do this alone. So for so many years, I just fumbled forward. I just kind of tried to figure it
Yeah.
out. And, 10 years into it, I still didn't have a budget. I still wasn't planned for the winter, financially. I still didn't have a proper process to hire and train and like onboard a home inspector. I still didn't have a growth person on my team to go and do the things that I was doing with like a chicken with my head cut off, just running around flippantly
Yeah.
and trying to be at all the events.
Going to
and the
every
connections.
networking event
Just
there
doing
possible.
all the things.
Yeah.
And before we started recording, you and I were talking about like all the hats that we can possibly wear. And, you know, in home inspection, there's only 3 divisions. And most businesses, there's 3 divisions. There's operations.
Yep.
And then there's growth, like the marketing of, and then there's the services, like the thing that we provide.
Yeah.
And I never knew that because it was just me.
Yeah.
So for years, I didn't understand how we were supposed to function properly. And then my very good friend who ended up taking over our inspection company in Indiana when we moved here, he introduced me to this company, this organization called Inspector Empire Builder, IE. And it's nationwide, international. We've got a couple outside the US, but inspection coaching group where other home inspection companies from around the US get together and literally share the playbook, share everything. And there's an abundance mindset with all of us. And when I got into it, I was everywhere. But I also thought that I was alone in it. So what a great community to be in. I'm sure that there's communities like that in real estate. I was just at a WCR function yesterday, and that's literally how they think.
Yeah.
But what a great community to be in, to realize like you're not alone. You're not reinventing some wheel. Like this already exists, and some people have already figured out how to, you know, not feel the way you're feeling, and to come up with a budget and come up with a growth plan and come up with how to train your inspectors and KPIs and how to, you know, hold everyone accountable on your team. Like there's systems and processes for that. Let's just give them to you and you just plug them in, and then we'll support you through it because it's going to be messy. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been part of that coaching group since 2019.
Yeah. And it's important because again,
oh my God,
we can't do this on our own.
but you want to.
Right.
If somebody else knows how to do it already and be really successful at it, why wouldn't you ask them questions? And why wouldn't they just give you the playbook? You know, one of my favorite people is in Maryland. She'll give me anything I need to be able to run my company as successful as she is. And they're a multi-million-dollar home inspection company. $1 million revenue in home inspection is very difficult to get to because you know how much, like the average inspection fee across the United States is like $500.
Right.
You know, so it's difficult to get to $1 million revenue. You're doing a lot of inspections. So I think the most we ever did was like 1,300 inspections in a year. That's a lot. You got to get a lot of inspections to get that kind of revenue. But there's some $10 million home inspection companies out there. I could call Blake any day of the week and he'll give me the playbook to how he got his inspection company in 10 minutes. Because he's just a human. He put his socks on before his shoes this morning, just like I did. Yeah. And it's a wonderful group to belong to. But then I also, shortly thereafter, after baby number 3, I got a coach, like a personal coach for myself as well. Because I went to a very good friend of mine and who's also in the real estate industry. And I was like, listen, John, I don't know if I need a therapist or a business coach
or all of it
or like an emotional coach, or like, do you need to just come in and tell me how to run my business? Like I am not okay. I need something. And so he really considered it, and he connected me with Amy Osterbeck. Actually, she was a productivity coach at KW office at the time. And she's moved into so many incredible roles in her journey. And she gladly took me on and coached me for about 2.5 years. And it had nothing to do with real estate. Very, very rarely did we talk about, oh, how many units did you inspect? Like that was not. But she, just like this coaching group that I belong to, she personally held me accountable for dreams, goals, and desires that I had. She's the first one who taught me how to get clear. Because in this industry, we talk about like, oh, get clear on what you want and then work backwards.
Right.
To get your goals.
Right.
The 411 and the 315 and the whole thing, whatever. But I was like, how do you do that? Oh, good. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Because that's what a coach does.
Yeah.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Changed my life.
Yeah. That's what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it is it like as a coach myself, right? Like, so I got started in the business as a productivity coach.
Fantastic.
Before I had a real estate license, I got hired as a productivity coach.
Beautiful.
And then we got another Mindy from Indy said hello from Indiana.
Hey, Mindy.
Fellow Hoosier. So it's a very important one, the community, like you said, finding your community. And I'm a big believer in your vibe, your tribe.
Yes.
You know, you what you're doing. And when you start to see those, you can sit down with and have conversation with, talk to, like those are people you stick with. You know what I mean? Like those, if and again, I'm not for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
I am not for everybody.
Yeah, and if we were, how boring.
Right.
Like, I would just blend in. I have zero desire to blend in.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and you do it, like, if I come in, I can tell, sometimes I can tell right away when I come into a room and people are like, geez, I'm loud. I'm a tall guy and
You
I'm
are.
loud. Like, it's just what happens.
There you go.
So this is me.
Awesome.
Take it or leave it. Like, this is, and if
Yeah.
you leave it, it's okay.
Yes, that's fine.
It's okay. I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me. Right. Like, I don't have to have every real estate client on the planet. I try to work in the 90 percentile, right? The 90 percentile that makes sense for me and that makes sense for them.
Yeah.
And again, because we go handshake, we talk to people, on the front end as a realtor. If I go sit down with someone and I decide, like, I don't know if I want to do this or not, like, I have to make that decision because I'm going to be locked up with this person for the next 90 days at least.
Right.
And do I want to do that?
Right.
Do I even want to?
Right.
You as a home inspector, a
Yeah.
little bit different. You show up, you do your home inspector, you give your stuff.
That's
you know what I
right. 2.5 hours with someone, and then we're gone. And that's the client. So they
Yeah.
can call us anytime, but it's not like we're going to hang out with them for 2.5 to 3 hours again.
Right.
But the real estate agent,
Right.
we can part ways too if
Yeah.
we're not in alignment, and that's okay.
It is.
Mhm.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I've had very few, but I've had very few clients that bring a home inspector with them.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
I
they're like,
do.
oh, I have my guy. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
do you?
Yeah, right.
I haven't talked to them yet. I don't know if it's going to be any
Yeah.
good. You know what I mean?
Uncle Joe is really knowledgeable. Let him
Yes.
help you after you move in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. When your dad shows up with the white New Balance on, like,
Yeah.
that's not the home inspector.
That's right. He's really knowledgeable, I promise. Let him follow the home inspector.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But so you're right. But that relationship between the realtor and the home inspector, that's the important part. Because you and I are going to be locked up for the next, hopefully, years.
That's right. That's right. And I use the word partner. We're partners.
Yeah.
So the word vendor is used.
Yeah. Right.
I laugh about that because I feel like it's a vending machine.
Right.
Like I have groceries to buy too.
I need
Like
chips.
I'm not.
Yeah.
but as a partner, we're literally trying to get to the same goal. Like any home inspector that goes into the home with a puffed up chest saying, "Oh, the roof is shot," or whatever the words are.
Yeah.
That's like not why you're hired. You're just hired to go through the house and educate the person on the current condition. They just happen to be in a real estate transaction. So there's some things that are more important than the others. So what the realtor needs to do then is look at that list and say, okay, Bonnie buyer, what do you think about this list? And you handle the next part of the transaction process.
Right.
We're just the fact givers who have to kindly and tactfully tell the truth, not sugarcoat anything, but also not make anything a big deal. Like, whatever, there's a hole in a roof. It can be fixed. Like, why is that a big deal?
Right.
But then to empower you guys with the information so that you can go and make a good decision. And that's a partnership.
Yeah.
We're just all doing the jobs that we were hired to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just giving me information.
That's right. You're welcome.
You're not making it up.
Yeah, right.
It's not like, well, I think there's
No,
a hole in the roof.
I don't
right? Like,
think anything.
Yeah.
Like, my opinion does not matter.
Right.
Here's what it is.
Yeah.
Here's a picture.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. There is no. It is
No,
what it is.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Doesn't
amazing.
change.
Yeah. It doesn't change at all. And I feel like that's one of the things that realtors miss about inspectors, right?
Sure.
They're like, well, it's not their opinion. Like,
No.
they're trained, they know this, they're knowledgeable, they're educated on
Yes.
what this should be.
Yes.
Now, again, it doesn't mean you're a master roofer or an HVAC person.
No, we're general practitioners who
Yeah.
do an exceptional job.
Yeah. And you put the stethoscope on and you listen to the furnace, and if it's making a clicking noise,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. There's something going on with it, right? Get somebody else out here then.
Yeah.
Right? And I've had plenty of inspectors tell me the same thing. Like, look, there's something going on with the furnace.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is,
Uh-huh.
but you have a specialty come out there
Yeah.
and check on it.
Yeah. And before home inspection started, I don't know, 30 years ago, it's a very new industry still. But before home inspection started, it was the realtor saying, okay, roofer, you need to come at this time. Okay, electrician, you need to come at this time. Okay. Like all the people, that was very inconvenient to have all those professionals come that you guys have enough hats that you wear. You don't
Yeah.
need to go back to the house 5 times to make sure all these professionals come. So eventually, I don't know, but I imagine in my head, it was like some realtor's husband was really good at all the things. And she was like, well, why don't you just, inspect all the things at once? And so
Right.
then the first home inspector emerged,
Right.
you know what I mean? So that's the convenience of a home inspector. We have that knowledge about all of the things, and you don't need to have all all 6 different professionals come out. It's just one. And then we tell you, okay, this person really needs to come out, but not to say and do a more thorough job than us. No, like your roof is going to need to be replaced soon. Why don't you have a roofer come out and at least give you an estimate
Right.
so that you can move forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it doesn't. This is the other thing and this is what I always tell clients too. And I coach agents on this too. Like your clients should be at the home inspection.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I've had agents be like, should I have them there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
have them there,
100%
please.
of the time. And please don't let them just sit on the couch and wait till the end. Or
Right.
please don't tell them, well, why don't you wait an hour and then come at the end? No.
Yeah.
Have them follow the home inspector around. Have them ask lots of questions. That's what they're paying for.
Right.
They need to learn where the furnace filter is. They need to be able to climb that ladder and pop their head up in the attic if they want to. Because when are they ever going to again?
Right.
Never. Yeah. Have them bring their dad. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
This is your time.
And especially for first-time home buyers, right?
Oh, yeah.
First-time home buyers, again, you really need to walk them through this process of buying the home. I literally have had people be like, not really know what a hot water tank does.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Like
Or know what a phone jack is on the landline. Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what
yeah.
is that?
Yeah, right. But they need to know these things.
Yeah. Yeah. Or take somebody in a house that has a boiler. They're like, well, what is that thing?
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
that's your heat.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah. And people just don't know what they don't know.
That's right.
And we get to learn all these things and figure it out. But at the same point, like we're not the expert either. And
That's right.
agents all the time will be like, well, I'll tell them not to buy this. I'm like, why? Why would you tell them not to buy it? Like, I get it. Like, we're the fiduciary, right? Like,
Yes.
if there's something wrong with the house, then yes, we can guide them
That's
into these
right.
situations. But like, people are like, well, I don't like the way this is laid out, or what? Okay, we can change the layout. Like,
Yeah.
it checks a lot of your boxes.
Right.
And so let's just get the home inspector in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so the home inspection piece is so interesting to me. What is your continuing ed like? Like, and I know you guys have to learn because stuff changes all the time, right? Because
Yeah.
now you've got tankless water heaters.
Yes.
Like, that's a new thing. Like, what?
Yeah.
So how do you? Is it just like a continuing ed thing like we have, or is it?
Oh, Michigan! I tell you, Michigan. I really hope that Michigan gets some other kind of regulation, like they do with real estate agents, because a home inspector doesn't need a license or anything in the state of Michigan.
Right.
They strongly recommend that you take the online platform certification. But even then, no one's going to get, pinned if you don't have a certification, which is really sad. So there are a couple of online organizations that are really great that have online platforms for home inspectors to be able to go through and be educated. And then they get this master certification online.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of them have that. If you're a smart business owner too, you will absolutely have insurance and have some kind of a certification. But it's really smart to have errors and emissions insurance. It's really good to have if you have a team, have workman's comp. There's the whole thing. It's a business, right?
Yeah.
But no, Michigan has no requirement, so we're not licensed. So for our team specifically, when I started in the state of Louisiana, it was, this was 15 years ago, second most difficult state to get your home inspection license next to Texas, because everything's difficult.
All right,
Texas.
yeah.
But in
real
Louisiana,
estate exam in Texas is 50 hours too. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I had to get licensed in Louisiana. And then when I moved to Indiana, it was not a reciprocating state. I had to get licensed in Indiana. So you know what? Going through all of that, it was not only book training, not only online training, but it had to be so many hours in person, like an apprenticeship, if you will.
Yeah.
And then follow, and then they follow you, and then you're released. So that's exactly how I started my team here. You've got to take the online stuff. You need to know what a breaker what a panel looks like.
Right.
You got to know what it looks like. I'm not going to tell you, well, this is the ground wire and this wire is 10 gauge. This one is 12 gauge. I'm not going to teach you that. Learn that stuff, but then follow me.
Yeah.
And then I'll follow you, and then you're released. So we used to have a 6-month training process because I wanted to make sure, as a home inspector, we're a micromanager anyway. That's just
right.
That's why we love to do what we do. So I micromanage my guys because they've got to be exceptional. You know what I mean? We've got to be consistent with who we say we are. So that's our in-house apprenticeship, because we have to do the thing that Michigan, really wants them to do. But then in my business, it's down to I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks now, because we've got a nice, well-oiled machine. But Michigan has no requirement.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad. Ongoing education, then, if we are part of one of those online organizations, They want, I think it's 24 hours of Con Ed every 2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Which is more than ours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because we only need 6 a year.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
We
24
need
every 2
18
years.
and 3, right?
Mhm.
So every 3 years we have to have
Mhm.
18. So
But there's not much that there's not a whole lot that changes with a roof system. There's not a whole
Right.
lot that changes with a foundation system. And really you learn by doing.
yeah.
So there's so many crawl spaces that you can see and you kind of know everything you need to know. Then it's just rinse and repeat, you know. They don't change the construction of crawl spaces very
Right.
often.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. But then it's the product knowledge too then, right? Like,
Yep.
because again, I've sat in enough home inspections, right? That, you turn the dishwasher on and you're running the water and then you're making sure the other water works. And then you got the faucets in the bathroom on and,
That's right.
like all the things. Then you turn the heat up and then you turn the air conditioning on. Like,
Right.
so you got to know kind of how to operate all the things.
Well, and in a certain order.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I watch the guys, people go do it and I'm like, all right. And it's the same almost
Every single time. Yep. I go counterclockwise in a house every single time. Outside too. It's the same every single time. Well, also that helps us with our rhythm. 2.5 hours to have to touch.
Sure.
We look at and touch thousands of items in that short amount of time that we're there. We have to.
Yeah.
But you also have to run the house to its max because if there's going to be a leak on Christmas Eve when they have everyone at the house for the first time, we need that leak to happen now. So we're running everything
Right.
all at the same time. We're filling things up to let it all go. And if there's a leak, we just wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is it? And then we
Yeah.
have fancy tools like thermal cameras and moisture meters and stuff that help us like see the things we can't see. But
Right. Right.
but yeah, there's got to be a system. And then you teach that system and the next guy is really good at what he does.
Yeah. So with Elevate, you everything, right?
Oh yeah.
So do you now
We do
well and
sewer
septic?
scope, radon, air quality, mold, well and septic. We have a drone if someone wants, a roof that we can't physically crawl on.
Sure.
We got a crawl bot if someone thinks that will be helpful.
Oh, fancy.
Well, it's just fancy stuff. But like we got to physically get to places.
Yeah.
I don't trust machines, but we have them just
Yeah.
in case we need them for whatever reason.
Yeah.
A drone can't get great pictures of granules on a shingle like
Right.
we can by just crawling up the ladder and taking a peek. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But no, we have all the things.
Yeah.
And we have partners in the industry that can help us out if we can't, like, for instance, get to a well and septic. There's a guy that we call every single time and he'll be at our home inspection. Like that's why you create good relationships with people that do things really well.
Yeah.
Is to make sure that your client has everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So tell me about this.
Mm.
What was it like? So what's it like showing up as the inspector as a female?
Oh,
You-
it's fun.
Do you get like the
Every time.
weird look?
Still 15 years later, and I still get the weird look. Well, it's because most clients are new, right?
Right,
It's years
right.
before you see them again.
All right.
It's always the dad.
Yeah.
It is. And I love you, Dad. I love that you're taking care of your daughter who's a first-time home buyer, and I love that you're a retired engineer. So let's do this together.
Yeah.
That's the approach.
Yeah.
But I always get that look. But then, I'll tell you one of my most favorite things, the light switch moment when someone learns something they didn't know. I love that look in their eye, right?
Yeah.
I love it. And I'm like, yes, I did my job.
Yeah.
But then also at the end of that, when that same person, whoever it is, gives me that good hearty handshake and it's
Yeah.
like, well done,
Yeah.
lady. Yeah.
You're not a dummy. Yeah.
Yeah. See that?
Wow.
Yes.
You did know what you were talking about. I
But
can't
it's-
believe it.
But it's fun. It's just the industry. And I think that's probably one of the reasons I liked construction in the first place is because it's just a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Girls can do hard things. It's fun.
Right.
Like whatever.
Right.
But it's fun. It's just part of it.
And it's
You got to have thick skin.
yeah, and it's a knowledge base.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really
That's
the
all
home
it is.
inspector is just a knowledge base,
Yeah.
knowledge of the home.
Uh-huh.
And you're not going in and lifting 5,000 pounds. You're
No.
going in and pointing things out.
Yeah, I know. I have a screwdriver and a flashlight.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
all
I'm
there
going to
is.
take the front of this panel off so I can look at it.
Yeah,
And
right.
I'm going to put the panel back on. It's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And I'm going to run a bunch of faucets.
That's right. That's right.
So growth is in the future,
Yeah.
Right.
Always.
but controlled growth,
Absolutely.
right? Because again, it's containing what you want
That's right.
and building the life that you want.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message. I think that's
It really is.
the message to a lot of people that are trying to build a business, that are trying to grow and do things on their own, like whether that's
Yeah.
real estate, whether that's an inspection, whether that's mortgage, whatever it is, whatever that
Yep.
entrepreneurial thing is,
Yep.
is build the life that you want.
That's exactly right. I was teaching a Con Ed class yesterday to a group of agents, and one of the first things that we talked about is having your business at an arm's length from you so that you can tell it what to do. not allow it to be this blob that like consumes you and say, okay, we're going to go over here and we're going to grow this big right here. And now we're going to get all these team members and we're going to grow this big. No, like I want to keep that at an arm's length to tell my business what I want it to do. What is it, Gary Keller, that says the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life?
Right.
Well, what is your perfect life? It's different than someone else. So then if you decided to be an entrepreneur, and we all are in this industry, what do you want the business to do for you? Okay, now go make it do that.
Yeah. Love it. And your goals, your dreams, not anybody else's.
Yeah. And they might change.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because who do you have to ask? Yourself. Okay. That's awesome.
That's the best. That's the best. So where can everybody find you?
Oh, on social media, we're everywhere at Elevate Inspection Group. Jaymie Paternoster, you can see there. Our website is elevatemichigan.com.
I have your name and Elevate Inspection Group up here on the
Look at
thing,
that.
so,
You are so fancy, Jimmy.
Yes, I told you, 52-year-olds figuring this stuff.
There you go.
Technology out. Yeah. That one step at a time. I did get a text message earlier on that our volume was down though, so I fixed that.
Good.
That was midstream. But no, I love having you on. I appreciate the time.
That's fun.
And I told you this hour goes by faster than you think. Yeah, this hour goes by really quick. So, Jaymie, we can find you Elevate Inspection Group.
Yeah.
And now your Metro Detroit area?
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Everywhere.
If you're going to sell a house 3 counties away, we're going there to inspect it.
Got it. And you provide everything. Well and septic,
everything.
Sewer, the whole deal.
Yep, we'll bring it along.
Got it. Because I know that's a difficult thing for a lot of inspectors too. They don't do all the things, right?
Well, the equipment costs a lot of money. You got to give them grace.
Costs a lot of money,
but
yeah, sure.
One step.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Well, Jaymie, find Jaymie Elevate Inspection Group. Find her everywhere in the state of Michigan until she grows to Indiana and Ohio, and then we'll talk about that later on.
Or Florida, Tom.
Or Florida. Tom down in Florida. Tampa's not a bad spot to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Love it.
A lot of new construction.
That's beautiful.
Easier to inspect, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's easier to inspect. So, again, thanks for joining us on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. We were live on KGCI Radio, live on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. You can find the Elite Real Estate Podcast wherever you find podcasts later on. And for those of you that are watching later on, come back next Friday and watch us live at 7:30. I'll talk to you guys next week.